There is a great deal of surprise, I think, across football that Leicester have got away with this one, although the club are adamant they broke no rules and that they stuck religiously to the letter of the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. The crucial factor here is that Leicester moved their accounting period, as clubs are perfectly allowed to do, to a period beyond the end of the Premier League season in 2022-23. It was not done deliberately to avoid PSR. The appeal board panel accepted that. But the effect was that by the time Leicester were due to publish their accounts, they were no longer a member of the Premier League. Because they'd been relegated, they had transferred their Premier League share to newly promoted Luton Town. As a result, Leicester argued that the Premier League no longer had jurisdiction over them, that their rules didn't apply. The Premier League's argument was always that in the spirit of the rules, Leicester needed to be punished because the Premier League felt that Leicester had defaulted to the tune of £29.4 million beyond the permitted losses over a 3-year period. And they felt that if Leicester got away with this, it was unfair and send a bad message to the rest of the league. But the appeal board criticised some of the Premier League rules and the way they'd been worded in this regard, calling them confusing. And so it remains to be seen whether the Premier League has to look at that specific area of the PSR rules again in the very unusual situation where a club is relegated and their accounting period falls beyond the end of the season. The irony here is that if Leicester had stayed up in the Premier League, they almost certainly would have been charged by the Premier League and could have faced at least a 6-point deduction. From Leicester's point of view, they were quite frustrated themselves, and I understand that it damaged them in the transfer market. A number of potential targets were put off from moving to the King Power Stadium because they feared Leicester might get a 6 or 9 point deduction, which would put them in relegation territory. So Leicester are still angry about that. But I think on the whole, the club is relieved that the matter has now been dealt with. In truth, it all but ends the prospect of Leicester being given a points deduction this season. The Premier League are far from happy about that, and they will look again at their rules.